The night everyone thought Daniel Carter was just another tired single father was the same night the truth he had buried for years began to rise like a storm. Rain soaked the empty street as he stood outside the hospital, holding a small backpack that carried his entire world, and for a moment it felt like fate itself had finally decided to ask him for the price of the secret he had protected all these years. Life had already taken so much from him, yet the last truth was still waiting, sharp and unavoidable, ready to change everything forever. Before this story pulls you deeper, take a moment right now. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and unseen sacrifices, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Your support keeps stories like this alive. Daniel Carter became a single father at 29, not because he planned it, but because life shattered his plans overnight. His wife passed away suddenly, leaving him alone with a newborn son named Ethan and a silence that never truly left their small apartment. Daniel had dreams once, dreams that demanded long nights, sharp focus, and risk, but grief rewrote everything. He took a modest job at a warehouse, working long shifts that left his hands rough and his eyes permanently tired. Every morning before sunrise, he packed Ethan's lunch with the same care someone might give to something sacred, and every night he returned home with aching bones and a forced smile, determined that his son would never feel abandoned. The world saw a struggling man barely holding on, but they never saw the discipline behind his routine or the quiet strength that pushed him forward day after day. Money was always tight, and judgment came easily from people who did not understand. Teachers assumed Daniel was careless when he missed meetings, neighbors whispered about how a single man could never raise a child properly, and coworkers joked about his worn shoes and old phone. Daniel never corrected them. He had learned that silence was lighter than explanations. What no one knew was that he carefully tracked every expense, every hour, and every future possibility. Late at night, when Ethan slept, Daniel worked on something else, something hidden behind a password and a locked laptop. It was not a hobby, not a distraction, but a reminder of who he used to be before life forced him to become someone else. As Ethan grew older, questions became harder to avoid. School projects about family made Daniel's chest tighten. Medical forms that asked about parents felt like quiet accusations. Still, Daniel kept moving forward, choosing stability over comfort, patience over pride. The warehouse promoted him slowly, but never enough to change their circumstances. Bills stacked up, and when Ethan fell sick one winter, the cost of treatment pushed Daniel to the edge. That night, sitting beside his son's hospital bed, listening to the steady beep of machines, Daniel realized the past could no longer stay buried. The secret he had protected was no longer just his. It was time for the last truth. Years ago, before tragedy struck, Daniel was not an ordinary man. He had co-founded a small tech company that exploded faster than anyone expected. When his wife became pregnant, Daniel made a decision that saved his family without anyone ever knowing. He sold his shares quietly, walking away from a future that could have made him unimaginably wealthy, all to escape a dangerous partnership and protect his unborn child. When his wife passed away soon after, Daniel chose a simpler life, hiding his past success to shield Ethan from enemies and expectations. He transferred what remained of his earnings into a trust, untouched, waiting for the right moment. That moment had arrived. The doctors explained the cost of Ethan's treatment, and Daniel nodded calmly, even as the numbers echoed in his mind. He stepped outside, opened the old laptop he had not touched in years, and logged into accounts that still remembered his name. Within hours, payments were cleared, specialists were called, and the tone around him shifted. Nurses looked at him differently, administrators spoke with respect, and whispers replaced judgment. By morning, Ethan's treatment was secured, and his recovery was no longer uncertain. The truth had stepped into the light, and it was impossible to ignore. News travels fast, especially when assumptions collapse. People who once dismissed Daniel now struggled to understand him. They saw a single dad who chose simplicity over status, presence over power. They saw a man who carried success like a burden rather than a trophy. But the biggest change came at home. When Ethan recovered and learned pieces of the truth, he did not see wealth. He saw sacrifice. He saw a father who gave up everything so his son could grow up safe, humble, and loved. Life did not suddenly become perfect, but it became honest. Daniel moved into a better home, took a role that matched his skills, and began mentoring other single parents who felt invisible and overwhelmed. He taught them that strength does not always roar and that some heroes look like ordinary people doing extraordinary things quietly. Ethan grew into a young man shaped not by money, but by values, carrying forward the lessons his father lived every day without words. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like this video, share it with someone who believes in unseen sacrifices, and subscribe to the channel so more meaningful stories can reach people who need them. And before this story ends, take a moment to comment below what this journey made you feel, because your words might give someone else the courage to keep going when life feels unbearable. The last truth did not just change how the world saw Daniel Carter. It changed how his son saw love, how others understood sacrifice, and how silence itself gained meaning. Sometimes the greatest secrets are not hidden out of fear, but out of love, and when they finally surface, they do not destroy lives. They heal them.